deep tech innovation takes time. Of course, the returns are then outsized. But yeah, I do believe that Europe and Portugal is now the place to be.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel Lagoa. I'm a journalist for the Next Big Idea. We're at another edition of Web Summit on the center stage, talking with investors and companies in a partnership with the European Investment Fund. This time we have with us Luís Valente, the CEO of iLoF, for a conversation about the startup and its path in the digital health field. Luís, thank you for being with us. Let's start with the basics. iLoF combines photonics and AI to make clinical trials faster and more patient-centric. Can you explain us in simple terms how your technology works and why it's so important for drug development?
No, absolutely, and thanks so much for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to be here again after 1 year at another Web Summit. So iLoF is a deep tech, health tech company working on the personalized medicine space, and we've been helping pharmaceutical companies, biotechs, and overall leading researchers globally cut time and cost of taking life-saving medications into the patient's hands faster. So what we do is we've been collecting massive amounts of multimodal data, so data from multiple sources, and we've been helping select the right patient to test out each clinical study. We do this preclinically and clinically, and we're currently deployed in pilots in 3 continents and a little bit all around the globe.
All right. Lisbon is positioning itself as a hub for digital health technology. As CEO of a Portuguese health tech using artificial intelligence, what opportunities and challenges do you see in the Portuguese ecosystem?
No, I absolutely see Lisbon, Portugal, and Europe as the next big thing in artificial intelligence for a variety of reasons. So the number one is the access to talent. I think the access to talent is unparalleled in Portugal. Highly educated people from really top universities and really devoted to making an impact in the lives of people, and this is exactly the kind of people that we attract. And number two, I do believe that today in Europe we're starting more and more to have the access to capital and to this critical capital mass that is needed to take these deep tech innovations into the market. So deep tech innovation takes time. Of course, the returns are then outsized, but yeah, I do believe that Europe and Portugal is now the place to be in deep tech in the world.
What about the challenges of the Portuguese ecosystem?
Oh, there's certainly challenges. Number one, even though Europe has been making and Portugal has been making this route of bringing this capital, the reality is that we still attract a fraction of what our American counterparts do. So we need to learn how to do more with less capital. And second, of course, the entrepreneurial culture is less prevalent in Europe and in Portugal than it is in the States. So hiring, even though the pool of talent is more qualified, hiring is sometimes a challenge that every deep tech company needs to face.
Faber, a Portuguese VC firm, is one of your investors. How did this partnership with Faber begin, and how has it been working with Faber?
Absolutely. So Faber has been a beacon and a really, really important piece of our journey in iLoF. So they invested already quite a few years ago. They've been on a journey with us for the last 3, maybe a bit more years. And they've been supporting us in thick and thin. So in startups, it's not just ups. Sometimes there's challenges that you need to surpass. And this is why it's important to have VCs that understand the deep tech game, to have VCs that understand that, there's ups, there's downs, and there's moments where you need to stick with the founder and go through hard and difficult decisions. One of the things that I really love about Faber, and we are actually lucky to have a diverse pool of investors in 3 continents, but the reality is that investors like Faber are super hands-on. They help us all the way from hiring to introductions to corporates, potential clients, and yeah, they're just one more element of the team, which in a small 30-people company like iLoF is really important.
You, as you mentioned earlier, you have investors in 3 different continents. As a CEO of iLoF, how do you manage a startup that needs to adapt to such different markets?
So first of all, I'm very, very lucky to have a pool of amazing co-founders. So we are I actually female co-founder, so I'm the only co-founder of the I'm the only male co-founder of the team, and the reality is that they support the execution, the day-to-day operations a lot in the fraction of time that me as CEO spend and invest managing the cap table. The reality is that if you choose the right investors, even though you will always spend some time speaking with them, updating them, trying to extract value from your cap table, it's going to be net positive. So the time that you invest in nurturing these investors is actually going to be paid back, and not just in terms of capital, but it's really going to be paid back in terms of introductions, in terms of support, just brain power thrown into the business.
Yeah.
I don't see it as being spent. I see it as being invested.
Yeah, yeah. You recently received an European Innovation Award. How do awards of this magnitude help a Portuguese startup gain credibility with international partners and investors?
No, absolutely. So even though we currently are a company with a bases and operations in several countries, so we've been in the UK for almost since our inception, with operations in London and Oxford, and very recently, even though we've opened a base in New York, in upstate New York, US. The reality is that in our DNA and in our core, we are a European company and we are a Portuguese company. And a word like this one, in a way, help highlight the innovative character of our company, hopefully the grit of the people that compose the company, and overall make connections and getting to the people that we need to get a bit easier. And again, we really thank the European Commission for this innovation award, and we're really happy to have received it.
I got one more question for you. What advice would you give to a Portuguese founder looking to take his health tech startup to the global markets?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, it's really important when you are designing your company and designing your team that you create a culture where you can include people from various countries, various cultures, various faiths. So at this point in the company, we have 9 different geographies. We have people that have joined us from all the way from Argentina, from the US, from Switzerland, from even the Mauritius. And this really allowed the company to not just aim to tackle a global market, but to also, in its core, be global from the start. And this is, well, if you set a global culture, that's one of the things that you can do to become a global company. And second, you need to be on the ground. So I traveled a lot, the team travels a lot. We spend a lot of time in the US, in the UK, in all around Europe. And when you are on the ground, it's really half of the way into building these relationships and building these connections that allow you to actually be the best version of your company. And at this point in the company, we're deploying our platform in over 30 locations in the US, in a leading Alzheimer's clinical study in US, Canada, and in the UK. And we have leading pilots a little bit all over Europe. And I like to think that the reason why we're having this impact is actually because we're able to create this global culture, this global team, and this global ambition.
Yeah, Luís, thank you so much for being here with us and talking about your path in the health tech industry. Thank you so much.
much.
Thank you.